Welcome to the Raynin Threes podcast with Alan Ray and Mike O'Connell.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to the 8th edition of Raynin Threes. I am your host, Mike O'Connell, here with the former John Wooden and AP All-American Alan Ray. Hey, Ray, how we doing tonight, my guy?
What's up, OC? It's 10:43, so I'm a little tired. Nah, but it's all good. Happy to be here. Like you said, got a lot to talk about today. I think today is going to be a pretty good show today. Ready to get into it. What about you?
Yeah, no doubt, man. We're out here burning the midnight oil. It is the only time that really worked out for us, but we got a lot to talk about, like you mentioned, and it's going to be fun. It's been a while, been a couple of weeks now since we got to sit down and chop it up.
Yeah.
Some exciting news to talk about, some new developments that you've heard about that you were sharing with me before we started recording. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it. And first and foremost, my friend, who's been a topic for the last few weeks now, almost months with our show is Cam Whitmore, and he is your 2023 Summer League MVP. Hey Ray, he averaged 19.3 points per game, 5.6 rebounds a game, and 2.5 steals as well. So showing off those active hands. Hey, Ray, give me your thoughts on Cam in the Summer League.
First, put some respect on his name.
Yes, sir.
Got to put respect on his name. After all the noise, everything that was said, he came out and put on the show. Like, not only did he come out and play good, but he got MVP of the summer, which is kind of crazy, you know. But I think it was great. He did what he was supposed to do. Come out, anybody with a chip on the shoulder. I know if I had a chip on my shoulder, I would come out the same way. But I did get a little bit of information about his injury. So, basically, there's a knee issue that's going on that's kind of been discovered by the doctors, but it's not. Obviously, you guys watch the Summer League. It wasn't nothing that prohibited him during the Summer League.
Right.
But it's just kind of raised a little bit of concerns just because of like guys like Lonzo Ball, you know, who also has something kind of similar in which the doctors saw with Cam. So it kind of raised concerns. I mean, it would with anybody, especially with Lonzo Ball. We've seen his injury history, and I could see why they were concerned, and you know, possibly why he fell a little bit. But I'm hearing that that's the main reason was it definitely was a knee issue, something that came up with his knee, but it doesn't look serious to me, and it doesn't look like it's prohibiting. But we'll see moving forward. But he did get that MVP this year, and I'm happy for him for that. Just to be able to quiet the noise and dropping down to number 20, winning MVP. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to play this year during the season.
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. And when you mentioned the cartilage of the knee, you mentioned Lonzo Ball, and whenever you see those two guys, Cam Whitmore and Lonzo Ball, in the same sentence, I'm sure that was a major reason for a lot of those GMs that passed up on him to be scared to draft him and put that much stock in him. And hey, you got to understand that to a certain extent. You talked a little bit about how Brandon Roy had a similar type of experience when he was slipping a little bit in the draft after such an incredible career at Washington. He was like, whoa, what's going on with this guy's knee? People already predicted draft night about his possible career ending injuries being a factor and not really giving him that many years. So, you know, it's a little scary to hear that news. You got to understand.
Yeah, like, exactly like you said, especially going back to that Brandon Roy story. So if the doctors do predict something like that, they say, okay, well, you know, Brandon Roy has this knee issue, and we don't think that he's going to be able to have a long career.
Mm-hmm.
And it pans out that way, and you see how Brandon Roy's career went. Like, you kind of got to, like, listen to what these doctors are saying, you know? So it's kind of, for Cam, it was just a little bit unlucky in my opinion.
Right.
That, you know, the X-rays or MRI, whatever the case, showed what they showed, and the doctors had their opinion on it. Who knows? It probably wasn't even nothing that serious, but just seeing something and raising concern, you know how that can be.
Correct. No, exactly. That's exactly right. And it's funny that you mentioned Lonzo Ball. He actually won the Summer League MVP way back in 2017. But a couple other Villanova guys won that same award, Ray. Your guy, Randy Foye, won way back in 2006. And Josh Hart in 2018 won the award as well. So pretty cool to see Cam join the likes of Randy and Josh, who are obviously, we look back at their career, at least Randy's career, and say, wow, this guy did a lot of great things for many teams in the league, and Josh Hart's still out there doing his thing, and now with the Knicks. So it's certainly something to get excited about. It's not something you say, hey, whatever, it's no big deal. No, it's like guys like, let's go down the list here. Damian Lillard won it back in 2012. John Wall won the award 2010. Blake Griffin, Nate Robinson. So these are the type of guys that you want to be mentioned with when it comes to having success, and albeit the Summer League, which is not necessarily the most meaningful of time for the NBA, but it's a great start to Cam's career as a Houston Rocket.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I love about right now? And I think it's past couple years. I say like the last 2 years, but more so this year also, is just like how Villanova is just making a stamp like in the basketball community. For so many years, it's been Duke, it's been North Carolina. You watch NBA, you watch USA basketball. It's filled with Duke, North Carolina, Kansas. And like, it's good to see now Villanova making a stamp. We got guys on USA team. We got guys winning NBA championships, guys playing in finals. Like, it's an unbelievable time right now for the program, and it's just moving in the right direction. Even with a down year last year, like, the program is still trending in a great direction.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Hey, right, you can't look anywhere and not see Villanova in the basketball world, and that's, like you said, Team USA, NBA playoffs, Summer League, in the finals. Wherever you look, you're going to see a Villanova player and someone from the program, whether it be coach, assistant, you name it, my friend. And it's certainly an exciting thing, and that's a great point, right? It's like, wow, last year, Kyle Neptune's first year, taking over for Coach Wright, Hall of Fame coach, Naismith Award winner. Like, you probably could argue the greatest coach of like the 2000s until now in college basketball. And you're like, oh my goodness, how in the world are they going to follow this up? They kind of fall flat. We go 17-17, first round exit the NIT, not ideal, but everything else is really making up for that. You see Cam slides in the NBA draft and now goes out and does this. And it's like, wow, all of you guys who said it was because of his characters, because he didn't care, he was a comatose attitude, that's out the window now. This guy's a baller. He went out and competed his rear end off and really showed the entire nation what he's all about. With he passed the eye test, Ray, but also if you just want to look at his stats, if you want to be a stat head, the numbers never lie, right? 19, almost 20 points per game in the league, in the Summer League.
Yeah,
this guy was doing it all for Houston Rockets, and I really will be shocked if you don't continue to see that in his rookie season. So it's an unbelievable thing, and like you said, the program, wherever you look, we're on the rise, my friend.
Yeah, and he was doing it like he was playing bully ball out there too. It looked like when he was playing with USA the year before with Mark, like he was just getting whatever he wanted, and he looked the same way in Summer League. That's why I'm excited to see him play this year. I can't wait. Everybody, he need another year to stay. He's not that good.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to dribble, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've been trying to tell people, like, Villanova just wasn't the system for him. It just wasn't, like, his ideal situation. So, like, now you get to see him getting to play in the open court, more space, in a different system, and, like, you see him flourishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't hate on him.
people were like, "Oh, there's no way he should have won the Big East Freshman of the Year." Like, yada yada. Give me a break. So we
That sounded like some UConn fan.
oh, you know it. And,
That's my usual UConn hate every show.
they come out and they are out of the woodworks. Give it to Villanova fans on Twitter, no matter what we want to talk about. So,
I mean, I like Alex though from UConn. He's good. Like, he's a good player, but he just wasn't gonna get freshman of the year over Cam Whitmore. It wasn't gonna happen. Like, if there was no Cam Whitmore, who would I want to have it? Alex. Alex is tough. I give it to him.
Yeah, but, no doubt. He had a very solid freshman year, and I think he's going to continue to build and grow as a player for UConn, who is going to be a legit powerhouse once again this upcoming season. And speaking of powerhouses, A-Ray, UCLA, they've been pretty legit the last 2 seasons, almost combined 60 wins over the last 2 years, went to the Sweet 16 both times. And last year, I felt like they kind of got a bit of bad luck when they lost their top 2 defenders, including Jalen Clark, who's now in the NBA. He just signed a 2-way contract with Minnesota. So they're a great program, and they are coming to Philly, to Wells Fargo Center on Saturday, December 9th to take on the Villanova Wildcats. I mean, hey, Ray, this is going to be can't-miss basketball. We all know what happened 2 years ago when we played them at 11:30 at night.
We collapsed
on a Friday, and we're gonna get into it a little bit here. It was a top 5 matchup. Hey, Ray, we were ranked number 4. We were traveling out to LA to play them at the Paul Pavilion. UCLA, the Bruins, were ranked number 2 in the country. So how about that for some Friday night lights? Jermaine was the leading scorer for us. He had 20 points. Colin had 18. J-Mo with 14, and Eric had 11. And
still lost.
This is brutal, Ray. We were up 60-50, 10-point lead midway through the second half, and UCLA just really tightened up on defense and scored some key buckets to squeeze us and force us to go to overtime. And I know you remember this game well, and it unfortunately brings back some bad memories.
Yeah, man, we had a big collapse that game. I remember it. I was in my house. I was sick, but I'm glad we playing UCLA. We owed them. They come to Philly, so that's gonna be good. But I remember that game. Who was the point guard?
Jaquez, Campbell.
Campbell.
They were killing us.
Okay, so Campbell. So we had Campbell control all game. Like, Campbell, we had him under control. He wasn't creating, making plays for everybody. And then, like, that last 10 minutes, he just started making plays for everybody. They hit threes, and it was over after that. And I remember that. I'm like, damn, we let him get going, and like that was the whole game plan to like not let him get going. But he wound up getting going at the end of the game, and they killed us, tortured us.
I mean, hey, Ray, we did everything that we needed to do, and like you said, we collapsed in the last 10 minutes. With 30 seconds left, they tied it up at 67. We had a chance to win the game, and we couldn't get it done, man. I mean, just brutal, but it was an early season game. Obviously, it was back on November 12th, Friday night. It was, I think, like our second game of the year. So really early on, but a nice litmus test for the Wildcats and what turned out to be a great season, right? Went all the way to the Final Four, but I think it all started with those early non-conference tests, Ray. We talked about it before, but, I mean, come on. You can't get enough of some great early season matchups that really show you where the program is at, where everybody's chemistry is at that point in time.
Yeah, definitely. And non-conference is definitely fun. Like, playing out of conference, getting to play against different schools is always great. So that UCLA game definitely helped Villanova. I feel like going into the season, late on in the season, like you said, you know, they was able to get tested, get to play against a Pac-12 style style team, and it all worked out for them in the tournament. You know, that's what I think a non-conference always comes down to, is the tournament. Get you prepared for the tournament, because you're gonna face so many different styles in the tournament. So playing non-conference get you to see different looks and get you to see what's out there in the country. So I'm looking forward to UCLA coming, especially to Philly. Get that place, Wells Fargo, rocking.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a goodie. We owe them, like we owe them an ass whooping.
No, absolutely. And we talked about Jaquez and Campbell. Along with Campbell, though, was Johnny Juzang. Of course, we all remember him and hitting that incredible run by UCLA the year prior, like the COVID-esque year where they lost to Gonzaga when Jalen Suggs hit that crazy shot in the Final Four. So that was certainly an impressive UCLA team. Last year, they went to the Sweet 16 as well. They had 31 wins. So this is a team that perennially, year in, year out, under Mick Cronin, are legit contenders in the Pac-12 and are tournament teams. So this is exactly who you want to be playing early on, who you want to be building this experience against. And I can't tell you, I know we traveled all the way out to LA. That's not an disadvantage for anyone to really as an excuse. But going all the way across country, Ray, it's tough. So I'm glad, like you said, they're coming to Philly. Wells Fargo is going to be absolutely raucous, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So I'm hoping to maybe even get out to that game, man. That'd be a ton of fun.
For sure. And I hate when people say, "Oh, the non-conference schedule is too hard, it's too brutal." Like, first of all, for fans, yeah, it might be too brutal for y'all, but as a basketball player, like, these are the teams I want to play against. Like, I don't want to play against Mother Cabrini. I don't want to play against schools like that. Like, I want to play against Duke. I want to play against North Carolina. I want to play against Arizona.
Yes.
Like, that's what I want to play against. And if we could get them in non-conference, like, let's do it. We was going so hard trying to play against Duke my senior year. And, like, it just did happen. We wanted to play Duke so bad. But it just did happen. I didn't want to play Loyola or anything like that. Non-conference, no.
Marymount, Maryland, Eastern Shore.
Yeah, no disrespect to them, but, you know, I didn't put in all those hours as a kid to play against them. Like, I want to play against the top teams.
Yeah, you want to play against the top flight programs with the great coaches, with the NBA players and everybody that's like, oh my gosh, this is a matchup you can't miss.
Yeah.
Villanova, UCLA, Villanova, North Carolina, Villanova, Kansas. You don't want to be playing, you know, oh, wow, they played like some bottom of the barrel Big Ten team. Like, oh, great. A couple years ago, we played Nebraska. I was like, yeah. I want to play Texas. I want to play Oklahoma. And those are two teams that you got to play against, actually, back in your day. And I kind of want to get your perspective because we brought up.
Wow,
we brought up the fact. Come on, man. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, man. I have a day too.
I just turned 39, so just think about how that makes me feel.
Oh my God, give me a break. But you're absolutely right. I don't want to play any cupcake schedule in the non-conference. Give me the big guns. I want to be playing against Baylor. I want to be playing against Kansas. I want to be playing against UCLA, Maryland, Kansas State. Like these top tier programs from the best conferences in the nation. And I remember a few years ago in 2018, we played against Gonzaga in the Garden for the Jimmy V Classic. Like, those are the games that you want to see in November and December, Ray.
Exactly. And I do remember that game against Gonzaga. Was that like one of the first times we played them?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It was like December 2017. I remember I was a sophomore. Yeah. It was phenomenal. Mikal had a heck of a game. I think he almost dropped 30, and we took it to him.
So they say, like, that stuff is good. Like, getting to play again, to see against. How many people seen Gonzaga play before that? Like Villanova fans, probably not a lot of people, and they got to see that. So, yeah, that was good. That's some good plus for you fans. Get to see some good teams. So, get to see some good players. So you want to see the good teams.
Yeah,
good players.
Are you kidding me? And I mean, we talk about some good players from UCLA too. I remember we put something on Twitter yesterday after the announcement of the game for this upcoming year in December. Back in 2009 when we played them, was actually at the Wachovia Center, Ray, before it became Wells Fargo. We played Saturday, March 21st, 2009, second round game against UCLA. Drew Holiday, Darren Collison, legit team that really, like, at one point was ranked in the top 10. They were a 6 seed. We were a 3 seed. It was not an easy run we had to the Final Four in 2009, but we beat the brakes off of UCLA 89-69. And Dante Cunningham, that's our guy right there, led the Cats with 18 points. And just a fun, really a fun game that I remember well, being a kid, being excited for March Madness and knowing the road ahead. So, I mean, in 2009, UCLA, Duke, crushed both of them, and then that crazy Pitt game, one of the games of the decades, in my opinion, that Elite Eight game to beat Levance Field, Sam Young, Brad Wanamaker, and DeJuan Blair, of course. That Jamie Dixon team is unbelievable, but that's besides the point. Back to the non-conference schedule, Ray. You had some really awesome Big 12 battles, which we'll get to our upcoming Big 12 battle with Kansas State a little bit later, against Oklahoma and Texas, 2 top 10 teams your senior year, and it was an absolute war against these 2 programs.
Yeah, I felt bad for Oklahoma because Oklahoma got us early when the season started, and we was on a different time. Yeah, Kyle was on different time. Randy, that's when Randy did that one-hand dunk when he was like high as hell in the rim.
Right.
Kyle did that. I don't remember if it was Kyle or me. Got a reverse layup. That game, it was great. It was good. I think that was one of the first times I played against like a real Big 12 big man. They had Taj Gibson. Who else was on that team? They had another big white guy. He's my guy too. I can't remember his name, which is crazy. But Brad Buckner, he was on that team.
There you go.
So it was just good getting it. Actually, no, Brad Buckner was on the Texas team. Okay. Yeah, but the Oklahoma, it was a good game. And Texas at Texas, they had LaMarcus Aldridge, PJ Tucker, Daniel Gibson. There was somebody else on that team too. DJ Augustine. They was loaded. That was one of the best teams I ever played against. And check my stats if you can. I'm pretty sure I didn't have double digits because PJ Tucker was guarding me that game. Seriously.
I'll pull it up.
Like you see PJ Tucker now on TV, how he played defense and like in everybody's face. Like he was like that in college too. Like he was a pest against when we played Texas. I think I went like 2 for 18. I'm not even going.
You went 4 for 20.
4 for 20. See,
but you had 13. You had 13 points.
Okay, yeah. Imagine having a big ass PJ Tucker hand in your face all game.
I mean,
you're not gonna see the rim.
You guys helped
that game
to 58 points though, 58-55 final. That is a slugfest. Man.
No, it was a war. It was definitely a war. We slowed the game all the way down. They was bigger than us. We had to limit their possessions. Coach Wright went to limit the possessions. We had to make sure we rebound against them. Like it was like a real slow, methodical basketball game that night. Like I wasn't tired physically after the game. Like I was tired mentally. You know, it's like just from the game plan and just having to focus on all of that stuff the whole game.
Oh my God! Yeah, this starting 5 for Texas is unbelievable. With LaMarcus Aldridge, PJ Tucker, you said Buckman, Daniel Gibson, Kenton Polito. They had Mike Williams on the bench, Connor Atchley, AJ Abrams.
He was he like a freshman or he was young at that time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he came in and gave them some good minutes too.
Oh man, and then just. Yeah, so you, Randy, and Kyle each had 13 points. Will and Mike combined for 8. Dante off the bench had 4. Jason Frazier off the bench had 4. But yeah, just like 23% from three, 27% overall, just a complete rock fight.
Yeah. It was one of those games. Like, we was just like, listen, we not making shots. Nothing's falling right now.
Yeah.
We gotta lock in on defense. That's the only way we're gonna give ourselves a chance to win this game. So that's why it was like that. It was just a rock fight, like you said, back and forth, all 40 minutes, and they came out on top. But that's just because they had a little bit more size than us. That's it.
Yeah. So was that a Saturday afternoon game, if I remember correctly?
Either that or it was a big Monday.
Okay.
It was one of them.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think I remember watching that game with my uncle Jeff, and he's a Villanova guy too. So
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking. But I know you remembered something pretty hysterical about the pregame.
Oh, yeah,
Wright.
yeah. Coach Wright. So before the game starts, we got our pregame meeting. Coach Wright's in the locker room, whatever the case may be. So, like, we all come in just to, like, hear the pregame speech and go over the game plan a little bit. And we're all sitting down in front of the board waiting for Coach Wright to walk in. He walks in. He got these, like, dark colored suit pants on. He's got this striped white shirt with, like, these dark but kind of light stripes on him. Then he got the suspenders on. He loves suspenders. He has suspenders. In the pregame, he would have his suspenders on. He never would have his suit, like the jacket. He always was walking around with the suspenders and the shoes. And, like, we all just stopped and looked at him and was just like, hold on. Are we playing a basketball game or are we about to go on a runway right now? Like, that's how dapper he was that day. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was one of the best. He always got good suits, but that was one of the best suits I've ever seen. That was one of his best ensembles ever. And I kind of miss seeing those suits he wore. But yeah, that got us jacked up. That got us ready to play. Like, we was ready. There was no way we were gonna have Coach Wright on the sidelines looking like that, getting blown out in Texas.
Yeah, no, that's so great because I'm sure that was Coach Wright's one of his first times going down, playing in Texas, playing in Austin against the Longhorns were number 8 at the time. You guys were number 3, and just a incredible Rick Barnes led Texas team, and I'm sure Rick was styling it as well. So it was definitely, I think Coach Wright was definitely trying to send a message with his getup, which is always fun to witness.
Yeah, he do.
You guys firsthand too. So
now he do low key. I know he be on the sidelines trying to, like, kill the competition.
Yeah, of course.
I know he do.
Yeah. So I believe that was in fact a Saturday afternoon game. I just was looking at the post game recap, which was written at like 4:50 in the afternoon. So I'm assuming it was a 1:00 game, maybe even a noon. But that was a ton of fun, a core memory of mine. I know that we lost anyways, but at the same time, that did a lot of good for you guys, I'm sure. Just having that experience, going through the tough environment of playing down in Austin at Texas against that absolutely stacked team with Aldridge and Tucker. I mean, you can't get better than that in terms of an early season test, Alan.
Yeah, Texas was unbelievable. And another game too that was unbelievable. Just like a great learning experience and like tough crowd atmosphere. Notre Dame. When Kyle hit that tip in at that game, unbelievable. So the night before we're in Indiana, and there's a Villanova alumni who lives there. They invited us to their house. We had dinner there. And one of the girls, it was her parents. She went to school with us. She was our class and everything. So we knew who she was. It was cool as hell. Like, they had a really nice house, and they treated us great. And I think that's like Villanova family,
sir.
And we was just so comfortable there. And we go out to the game to play against Notre Dame. It's my first time. Notre Dame, you think of, like, football, like the big history there. And it was the same like in the gym. Like the gym was packed. It was loud as hell in there. I'm not sure if Notre Dame was playing to like make the playoffs or to like get in the tournament or something. But it was packed in there that night, and I was feeling great. I was feeling great that night, and the crowd was just like, it was so hostile. I remember us being in the huddles, having to like remind each other, like we got to pay attention. It's loud in here. We can't hear each other. So we got to get in our huddles quicker before free throws or like dead balls.
Wow.
Yeah, we was real like detailed with how we played. A lot of people don't notice. Like Coach Wright was on the sideline coaching, but like we on the court was like he gave us that freedom to kind of do our own thing and come up with like our game plan too. Not so much. I'm not gonna say we did everything, but we kind of had like he taught us basketball IQ. Like our IQs were really good, so we got away with sometimes calling our own plays and stuff like that. But you only learn that like playing in those type of games, like being in those type of environments. So I think it's great. I think it's great being in those environments. I could play every single game like that, I would. And I hope everybody else that hoops feels that same way too. Just being able to play in those environments and against those top teams is the best.
Oh, man. I remember that game very well, A-Ray. That was actually funny. My parents were going out to dinner or something like that. My dad told me I was allowed to stay up for the rest of the game. I remember they left at halftime or whatever it was. And, my babysitter's like trying to put me to bed. I'm like, no way. I'm watching the end of this game. I don't care what you tell me. I'm watching. Don't mess with me right now. I'm in the zone. And I remember my dad told me before he left, he was like, leave a note for me for, who wins. Like that was something that me and my dad would always do. He would always leave me a note if I had like in my bathroom. So I'll go get ready for school in the morning. I would see the note like, all right, we won or all we lost. And he would do that for me. But this time I got to do it for him, right? So it was an exciting thing. Lowry hit the tip in to win the game 72-70. Notre Dame was ranked 20th at the time. It was, like you said, it was a massive game and in a completely hostile environment. And I remember I spelled Kyle C-I-L-E. Kyle Lowry. I think I spelled the last name right, but Kyle was a little rough around the edges with C-I-L-E. I was a youngster, but boy, I remember that game like it was yesterday. A ton of fun and just like, and talk about just dramatics, right? I mean, last second tip in, you guys doing everything you possibly can to come out of South Bend with a win, and there you go. It happened like that, and just, I'm so glad that you have that story and how much that entire, I guess, trip meant to you guys, because
it was a good trip.
Even in the middle of, Nowhereville, Indiana, there's some Villanova people ready to bring you guys in and treat you like family. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely was. And like even after that tipping, like if you watch the video, like that's my favorite part of that video is that you watch Kyle tip it in and like just pay attention to how fast we all run back down the court. And it's not, and it's just like we were like machines. Like that was something Coach Wright taught us. Like the tip, like at the end of the games, if everybody crashed their boards, like we got to make sure we get back. Or like somebody's got to be back or one person be back, whatever the case may be. But it was end of game situation. So Kyle went in. Kyle's a point guard. So he went all the way from where he was at and got the tip in. And it was just like, we didn't even have to think about it. It was boom, get back. Like run back so they won't get no long passes or like no easy shots. Cause, obviously we trying to win the game. But yeah, man, those were the good old days. I never played on another team like that. Like that was this detail. Like I played in Europe. Like guys would drive ball side, and like the coach would be mad at me for not helping. I'm like, dude, I'm not helping ball side.
Right.
Like I got a shooter right here in the corner. Like I'm not gonna go help this man and leave the shooter. Like I'm just not doing that. Like I just wasn't taught that at Villanova. And then I tell coaches that, well, this is not Villanova, like, how that goes. But
yeah,
I've never played on a team as detailed as Villanova, I've never played with a coach like Coach Wright that was able to break down every part of the damn basketball game and like teach you something about it. You know, Coach Wright in Villanova is the only place I played like that.
Well, like you said,
I can say that proudly too.
oh yeah, come on, of course. And like you said, you guys were robots, man. You guys were programmed differently than everybody else to treat basketball like it was just basically like you had a roadmap to get through and navigate the game no matter what situation you were in, no matter what the other team threw at you. You guys always had an answer. Very rarely did you guys ever look flustered or like, oh my God, the shots aren't falling. Don't matter. We're okay. We got this. We're gonna get them on defense. And that's the beauty of Villanova basketball and watching you guys play when I was a kid, and even watching replays of the old teams from 06, 09, 2016, 18, you name it. But it's just completely unflappable, right? You guys could go through the hardest 10-minute stretch of the year, and you guys, you would act the same way if you were on a 25-2 run. It's just that's just how you guys were. It was definitely robotic in a way, but I think it's the right way to do it because you can't let the emotions overwhelm you, whether it be positive or negative. So,
UConn in Wachovia, 06, I think. That's right. They were stomping us in the first half, and then we came out second half, got that dub. But like you said, just never got down on stuff like that. Like you could go up 20 points on us in the first half. Like we know we coming back. Like there's no doubt in our minds that we coming back. And it's been like that ever since we left, and that's the tradition there. And that's why it's so fun to watch and be alumni. And I could say like I'm somebody who started that.
Oh,
you know? So it's just a great feeling.
No, it absolutely is for you guys, because you absolutely 1,000% were the OGs, right? You guys started the tradition, and it was all about playing for the name on the front of the jersey, not the back, and building that culture, building that tradition that we've seen now the last almost 20 years. So it's been an honor to watch from that point up until now, and it's hopefully going to continue to get better this year with all of the NIL, the transfer portal things changing the college basketball landscape and environment. Can Villanova still thrive on what they've instilled in themselves with culture, with family, with attitude, and with the Villanova way, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely established culture there. Go to Campus Corner. That chicken smothered, that was us. We started that.
Dude, that's great.
That was us.
Great. Oh, wow.
Off the court and on the court, established culture.
No doubt about it, right? I love it. And so just to quickly wrap that up, I mean, what a fun discussion we just had. A little bit about the non-conference schedule, playing those tough teams early on, going into hostile environments. I know that Notre Dame game was obviously a Big East game, but still, you want those experiences to be thrown into a completely unfriendly place, an unknown place where you're not really even sure. Well, there's no one else to rely on but yourselves, and that's exactly what you guys did. And you were able to come out on top of plenty more times than you weren't. And we talked about that Texas game, but boy, just looking back at that Texas roster, it's a miracle you guys only lost by 3. I mean, talk about size. You guys really stuck it to them and hung in there until the end.
Villanova attitude. That's all that was that day.
That's right, man. And just to quickly wrap up with UCLA, some definitely. So we talked about the 09 matchup. We talked about 2 years ago and how we kind of choked that game away, up by 10 midway through the second half. Couldn't get it done, but in the long run, helped us out. Went to the Final Four. We did end up we lost to Baylor that year.
Baylor was tough.
We did beat Tennessee, which was a good win for us. But man, I mean, just a really brutal schedule that a lot of fans were actually, like you said, complaining about, which I found to be kind of ridiculous. We lost to Purdue also, that a number 6 ranked Purdue team in the Hall of Fame tip-off championship.
We gave that to them too. We handed that to Purdue. Yeah, here, you can have this.
I mean, hey, Ray, I'm telling you, I think UCLA, Tennessee, Purdue, Baylor, all top 20 teams, including Tennessee, just UCLA, Baylor, and Purdue, top 6 teams. I mean,
yeah,
those are legit programs with incredible coaching staffs that had some really incredible talent as well. And this team was able to hang with them. It proved to be worthwhile in the long run, going to the Final Four in 21. And I'm telling you, I think, why not jack up the front end of the schedule, non-conference wise. Get our name in the best Thanksgiving weekend tournaments. Make sure we're playing in the Big 12, Big East battle, in the Gavitt games. Whoever we can get, put them on the schedule, load it up. Let's go play with the best of them. Right, A-Ray?
Yeah, for sure. And that was one of the big things of why I wanted to play at Villanova, just like the Big East. I wanted to play against all of the top teams. Like the Big East was loaded, and Pittsburgh, Georgetown was good, UConn. Like the Big East was stacked. That's where I wanted to play. I didn't want to play nowhere else. The Big East.
Stack like pancakes, Ray, like you said.
Yeah, competition. Like I was just used to that from high school. High school played in CHSAA, which is the best, I guess, conference, for lack of a better word,
right,
that you can say in high school for New York. And like I just kind of got addicted to that, playing against that competition. Like I got addicted to it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. That's what makes it fun. Yeah, that's what makes you want to get excited about an early season matchup in November and December, and that's exactly what I want. And UCLA, I mentioned it before, got some history with them 2 years ago. The 2009 game, we beat them in 2010. Actually, the year after that, in the non-conference as well, I think we crushed them, and then they had actually ended up crushing us way back in 2002. But I'm sure a lot of the older heads will remember the 1971 national championship game where we lost to UCLA 68-62. Howard Porter won the most outstanding player of the tournament, and Coach Jack Kraft led the Wildcats to the national runner-up, which was pretty impressive. That was obviously before we won in 85, so that was the furthest that we had gone up to that point. And on the way, it's pretty funny, Ray, on the way to that final, we beat St. Joe's, Fordham, Penn, and Western Kentucky, so a couple of Big Five schools in there as well. And that's another thing we're going to look forward to is the Big Five Classic.
Are we really?
The City Six Classic. Well, I would say we would look forward to it in terms of the championship game meaning something a little bit more than just playing the 4 or 5 teams straight up. I think there'll be a little bit more, I guess, gravitas behind that level of a championship pedigree that game will bring.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate, and I do like the new format because I think we'll get to play just about everybody in the round robin. And I hear you in terms of like the competition not being the greatest, but it's traditional. It's a good thing for Philadelphia basketball. Coach Wright always loved gassing it up, and we would pretty much dominate, but it's something we're going to look at the schedule and say, hey, we need to take care of business, right? That's where I think we need to go in there, sweep the leg, go 3-0, 4-0, whatever it is, and hopefully win handily.
Yeah. And that was one of my biggest things was with the Big Five. I wish it was a little bit more competitive. It definitely would have been a better look. But don't get me wrong, we had our games there. I remember when St. Joe's was stacked, when they had Delonte. I'm not even going to say stacked. They had Delonte and they had Jameer Nelson.
Right. That was about it.
and they was beating everybody. Now, they was tough. But when they was in the Big Five, I remember playing against them. After my sophomore year, I went to transfer from Villanova. We lost to them so bad.
Oh, man.
Now, seriously, I was upset call my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm going somewhere else. I can't do this no more. Seriously, I was having a breakdown. And then I don't know, maybe like a day later, I talked to my pops again, and I didn't have the same energy. I was just feeling a little down.
Yeah.
But Big Five got me like that. And then Penn games was it was cool. Sometimes they used to be competitive, but not all the time. And LaSalle, I think I only played against LaSalle maybe like one time the whole time I was at school. Was Gary, there was one guy who he went to the league. Gary Neal, maybe that's his name.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think he played with LaSalle or Drexel, but either way, he was nice. I played against him in Italy as well, also. So we had some battles in college and in
Yeah, he went to LaSalle. Gary Neal, exactly right, my friend.
And in the pros too. So, Big Five had it had its games, but I definitely wish it was a little bit more competitive, especially like being down in the city with all that history and all that tradition. It got I hope it could get back up to a higher level and get more popular. But it's definitely a business game too. And that's how I start taking it junior and senior year. It's like, okay, let's not come in here and mess around. Let's come in here, take care of business, keep our focus straight, going into the next game.
Yeah, man.
Treat
Well,
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, how do you like playing at the Palestra? Because I know you definitely played there a handful of times as well.
Yeah. Nah, the Palestra is cool. Like I loved it. I love when we played against like St. Joe's and the fans, because I used to go out on the court early and shoot. I'm talking about hour 45 before the game. I'm out on the
shots.
Yeah. And I used to love when the fans used to be out there early. And that was one thing at the Palestra. The fans used to get there early and like heckle you and talk trash. But I used to have my headphones on, so I never really got to hear what they were saying. But I used to see them screaming their lungs out, and I can't hear a word they're saying, which was hilarious to me.
That's great, man.
That stuff used to motivate me. It used to motivate me so much, and I can't give the Palestra that student section atmosphere is pretty brutal, because the schools is like they hate each other, so everybody's going at one another. So that aspect of Big Five is great.
Yeah, no, 100%. I remember when I was a junior, we lost to Penn, and that was probably one of the most devastating losses of my time at school. Losing to Furman at home was brutal. I actually was the color commentator for like the student run radio broadcast. So that was I was literally baffled, man. I had no idea what to say. So like you said, we had to go take care of business when it comes to Big Five, because as unfortunate it is that those programs are not up to our standard right now in terms of success, perennial, year in, year out. But with all due respect, hopefully I'm rooting for them to kind of put together some decent teams and have success in the regular season and hopefully into March. But it is what it is, Ray.
But on a serious note, like, do you think it can get back up there with how basketball is now? Everything is changing. NIL, like schools like LaSalle, Penn, like, do they suffer because of like NIL? Nobody wants to go there and play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. And I think honestly the Atlantic 10 is almost not to blame, but is the problem, because I feel like even just a few years ago, it was a league that would consistently have, 4 or 5 teams in the big dance every year.
Yeah.
Talk about, Rhode Island, Dayton, St. Louis, not even necessarily the big 5 teams like a St. Joe's or, who else is in the A10, or LaSalle, Drexel. But that right now, that entire conference has been pretty much Dayton or bust for the last few years. And I don't think people want to play there, right? No one really was like clamoring to go play in the Atlantic 10. I think a few years ago, like I mentioned, they were legit. They had some serious teams. That St. Louis team, remember they had Jordair Jet, that kid, that like short little guard that was just lighting it up.
Mm-hmm.
They were Coach Rick Majerus was over there, and the HN was a formidable conference. But right now, A-Ray, really good point. I don't think that a lot of NIL money is even there for the taking for some recruits, for transfers. And look at Tyler Burton. He played at Richmond, A-10 school. He obviously lit it up, did his thing over there. But he definitely needed to come to a program like Villanova to really put himself on the map and get taken seriously by NBA scouts or wherever he wants to go play for his next step of his career.
Yeah. If I'm a team like LaSalle or like in Atlantic 10 or one of these small schools, like I gotta sell it. Like, this is a place where you can come, and if you play good enough, you can move on to a better situation, like a Villanova. You know what I'm saying? Like, like what else you gonna sell them on? You know, you can come here, like we'll give you the opportunity. You play well, you can go to another school, you can get an NIL deal, you know, but we can't give you that here, but we can be that outlet for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. And that's honestly kind of sad to think about that might be like their number one selling point. But
yeah, I mean, but you gotta look at it. There's kids out there too who, like, you know, not everybody has the sexy route, you know, to a major college. So like, there's gonna be kids out there who have been overlooked, who haven't got recruited a lot, in high school, that end up at a Richmond, and they look at it like, okay, if I can do my thing here, I know I can transfer to another school, to a bigger school. So like, there's kids out there like that, and I mean, those schools have that kind of capability. Like, you can come here, you can play, we'll teach you what you need to know. You help us, we'll help you. You know, like kind of like that. Exactly. I mean, it's a business now. Like, it's business.
It is, and you almost got to get lucky that you maybe find a coach, you know, from another program, or maybe someone that's been in your program for a while, and he takes over and he's able to recruit guys. Maybe you were, oh wow, a 4-star guy we just got, a 3-star guy we just got, like, you know, kind of maybe stealing guys left and right just because the coach was able to develop a relationship with them and develop that trust. And I mean, those are legitimate like programs in terms of resources, right? They have, I'm sure, very nice facilities. Philadelphia area schools most definitely do, with St. Joe's and Temple. They have large fan bases, large alumni networks that have access to that NIL type money. So I'm not ruling it out in terms of the realms of possibility of the Big Five making a comeback and really seeing the St. Joe's and the Temple teams that were in the big dance, or at least on the bubble year in, year out, with, you know, Phil Martelli and Fran Dunphy. So, you know, respect to them. I hope LaSalle, Drexel, Penn, those are still schools with like maybe the less traditional powerhouse college basketball programs. But I think if they really find the right group of people, find the right coach or alumni network to help them out, then Godspeed. So I really think that there's a chance, but I completely agree with what you're saying about how much more difficult it makes it for the little guy now with the NIL and the transfer portal. So very good point, Alan.
All we could do is sit back and watch and see how it plays out for real.
That's all we could do, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I wanted to bring this up earlier. We'll get to it now in our last little subject before we wrap things up here on this 8th episode of Raynin Threes, is the way too early bracketology put out by Joe Lunardi, Joey Brackets, as we like to call him. So we talked a little bit about some games coming up this season with Kansas State, Maryland, UCLA. Kansas State last year had a very successful run all the way to the Elite Eight with they had their guy Noel.
He's not there next year.
I know he's not, but I'm just saying that they're losing these guys, right?
Yeah.
Who else? Keontae,
George. Was Keontae George on that team? Kansas State? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Keontae was on that team. He was a baller. But they lost some guys, so they're not going to be the same. But they're still projected 11 seed according to Joe Lunardi as of right now. So they're going to be that's not going to be a rollover, right? I
don't want to play them at 11 seed.
No,
I don't
exactly.
want to play them. And I don't want to play a Patino team.
Oh,
I don't want to play a Patino team in the first 2 rounds of the tournament at all.
No, let alone the NCAA tournament. I want to play in the East tournament.
Yeah.
But so Kansas State projected 11 seed as of now. Maryland projected 8 seed, and UCLA is a projected 7 seed. So all 3 very solid projections in terms of what they think that these programs are going to do come postseason time in March of 24. So we're gonna, and we play 2 of those teams within a week of each other. Hey, Ray, how about Kansas State Tuesday, December 5th? Turn right back around that Saturday 9th and play UCLA. So traveling out to Kansas and Manhattan, and then coming right back to Philly to play UCLA. And boy, I'm fired up just thinking about that week, man. We're gonna have a ton of fun recording for that point in the season.
My guy Curtis Kelly coached with Kansas State, so I was gonna be happy to see him out there. We grew up together in New York. Well, actually, he's a little bit younger than me, but he's from New York, went to Rice High School. So
there you go.
Shout out to Kurt Kelly. But Kansas State, y'all going down.
I love it. A little smack talk, man. That's
going down.
Yes, sir.
Now we smacked this year. I mean, we stacked this year. So this is for you, Curtis. Just let you know, y'all gonna have a tough time. I got a lot of faith in my boys.
Yo, hey Ray.
Yeah.
Want to guess this for me? When was the last time we played Kansas State?
When was the last time?
Yeah.
Kansas State?
Take a guess.
1986.
We've never played them before.
That was my next answer.
Right, I'm sure. No, not once, my friend. Not a once. So
okay, that's good.
This will be fun.
Yeah. Now we get to see. Well, we watched them last year in a tournament, but like you said, it's a different team. But getting to see them last year in a tournament and then being able to play against them the next year, pretty exciting.
Man, I was at that game, that Kansas State Michigan State game where Noel dropped like 20 assists, set the record. Yeah. Oh, it was one of the best games of the tournament, probably the game of the tournament. And I was there at the Guard, man. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that game was great. That was against Michigan State, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that game was great. It was back and forth, action-packed, all 40 minutes, crazy play after play. Yeah, it was that the alley-oop game?
Yes.
Where he, like, looked off?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yo, it was insane. And FAU beat Tennessee that night as well. So we got to see a couple of great games.
Coach Wright called me after that game. He's like, "Hey Ray, I'm doing I'm interviewing Noel tomorrow, doing a piece on him, like about New York guards." And he's like, "Give me anything." He's like, "Just tell me something about like New York guard." I'm like, "Damn, coach, like you really a journalist now."
Give me something out. Come on.
I'm like, "Coach, you a journalist right now." Sound like Dana O'Neal. But yeah, I was just telling him, I'm like, "Coach, come on, we New York guards, like we gonna improvise, and sometimes you gotta take it. You gotta take it. Take what you want. We gonna try to make a play, like New York guards."
Yeah,
he's like, "Yeah,
got a little
Ray.
Corey Fisher in him."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, Ray, y'all don't listen."
Oh, that is too funny. Oh, I love that, man.
I know Coach Wright. I know Coach Wright says that. I know he think New York guards don't listen. I promise you, I know he do. He used to tell me that. So I know. And it's just like, just being from New York, it's just like how we play, man. It's just like sometimes we just gotta go off on a mind our own and like just want to make plays and stuff like that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But that's definitely a New York trait.
Yeah, I mean that's Fisher Price right there, man. That's Corey Fisher, like in a nutshell.
Yeah,
and Noel, there was definitely some similarities in the way that those two played the game. So I was watching a lot of Corey Fisher highlights the last couple of days because he actually went crazy against UCLA in that game we talked about earlier. So good times, man. And I just back to the bracketology to wrap it up, Ray. I want to see what you think. I'm going to ask you about each team in this field of 68 that Lunardi has put together, and what seed do you think that these Big East teams have? All right?
All right.
And no cheating, okay?
I never cheat unless it's Spanish class.
That's great. All right, here we go. UConn. What seed is UConn?
UConn. This is for the tournament.
Yeah, for the tournament.
All right.
Not for the Big East, for the NCAA tournament.
And this is preseason.
Correct. Yeah, this just came out a couple weeks ago.
They just won a national championship. So everybody's going to be riding them. So I'm going to say 2 or 3 seed.
2 seed. You got it, man.
All right.
What about Creighton?
Creighton, lost a lot, haven't gained a lot. I'm saying Creighton going to be 8 seed.
Wow, they have Creighton as a 2 seed, Ray.
Damn. Talk about off night, shoot 'em up, sleep in the streets.
And all right, I'll give you this one. What about Xavier?
Man, you said what seed was Creighton?
8. Or you guessed 8.
Yeah, 8.
Creighton is 2.
2. Xavier.
Yep.
I mean, damn.
Musketeers. Sean Miller's team again.
I'll go 8 with them. 8 or 9.
8. Yep.
Yeah.
Xavier is an 8. What about Marquette?
Marquette, 2 seed me.
3 seed.
All right.
You're right there, though. And then Providence?
Providence. You got to think about the storylines with Providence. 6 seed?
Nah. Lower with Bevel team. Yeah, lower.
Yeah. 10 seed?
Yeah, 11 seed.
All right.
They have them one of the last few teams in, and your team. I'm sure they'll change it since they just got that Chris Ledlum kid, St. John's. They just got him, the kid that was supposed to go from Harvard to Tennessee, decommitted from Tennessee, is now with the Johnnies, not on a scholarship, Ray, just going off that strictly NIL. Isn't that crazy?
Damn. I see. Times is changing.
Yeah. So St. John's is on the first 4 out. Them and Providence hovering right on that bubble. And for Villanova, the Wildcats, what seed does Joe Lunardi have us?
4 seed.
5. So you were pretty much on point there, Ray. Aside from Creighton, you were on point. You were either had it or were maybe just a couple off. So
how's Creighton still a 2 seed?
Hey, listen, I think what they did in the transfer portal as well, and they're bringing back some guys from last year. I think everyone was sleeping on them last year because they had such a high preseason ranking last year.
Yeah.
They played like absolute garbage in their non-conference. I think they actually were a 500 team at one point. I think they were like 5-5. I don't know. It was not good. They lost like 5-6 games in a row, something crazy. They really hit their stride come end of Big East play, and they went on a run, Ray, right? They launched that tough game in the Elite Eight to San Diego State. They really were had an opportunity to win. They couldn't get it done. And I think that experience bodes well for them, bringing back Kalkbrenner. They did lose Nemhard. They did lose Kaluma. But I'm telling you, Ray, I do trust the experience that they have now versus last year. So I think they're going to get together. I don't know if I would give them a 2 seed, but I like them to finish toward the top in the Big East as well.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it. We're gonna see how Creighton holds up this year.
Yeah, we will definitely see. I actually agree with you in terms of putting Marquette above Creighton. I think that's something that will eventually happen. I think Marquette and UConn are the class of the Big East, and then I believe us as Villanova, Creighton, I would say Xavier and St. John's could be right there as well. And then Providence is kind of the last team I would think is going to make a serious run at an appearance in March Madness. We'll see. So,
what if Georgetown climb their way into like the top 6 in the Big East?
I would not be shocked, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're still a year away. We did talk about this, I think, a few episodes ago about, is Georgetown deserving of a decent preseason look this year? I don't think just yet, but I would watch out for them come March. I think they might be a similar team to like how we were this past year, kind of maybe catching fire toward the end of the year. No one wants to play them. Big East tournament time comes around. They're like, the 8th seed in the Big East. They maybe steal a win on Wednesday and then give somebody a heck of a game in the quarterfinals. So we'll keep our eye on them with Ed Cooley. With Ed Cooley there, I think they're in a perfect position just to continue to trend in the right direction. And we're already seeing that happen. So recruiting has gone well for them. The transfer portal, they've done okay. And I didn't think they're just going to continue to knock it out of the park and bring Georgetown back to the Georgetown that you knew back when the Big East was really stacked in 06, 05 with those GT3 teams. So there it is, man.
Mike Sweetney was on that team. Remember Big Mike Sweetney?
Yes, I remember him. Talk about Roy Hibbert.
Oh, man. Yeah, I got Roy Hibbert his freshman year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Then chew gum and walk at the same time. For real, I'm serious.
I know. It was a bit of he had 2 left feet out there, but he figured it out. That's for sure.
He sure did. And had a hell of a career and played in the NBA as well too.
Yes, sir.
Roy Hibbert, Georgetown. Yeah, but I'm excited for the Big East this year. I swear, I hope they get some respect this year. I already see the disrespect towards the Big East, but I feel like we can get like 5 teams in this year. I feel like it's going to be some surprises. Like more than one surprise this year. Like more than one surprise team in the Big East. I just feel it. I don't know who it's going to be, but I just feel it. Somebody's going to make a run to like make a name for themselves this year in the Big East.
Would love to see it, man. Honestly, really would. My sister actually just got into Seton Hall for I think she's going to go there to get her teaching master's degree. Yeah, which will add a little interesting rivalry in the family come basketball season, Ray. So congrats, shout out to my little sister, Dylan. And it's funny, you mentioned Jay Wright's style. We talked a little bit about that, especially against Texas down south in that non-conference game you played your senior year. But how about Coach Neptune, man, getting named the number 5 overall best dressed coach in college basketball, Ray? What do you think about that?
I don't see it. I don't see it. Man. I mean, following somebody like Coach Wright, that's hard to do.
It is.
So
extremely hard.
Like Kyle may have some nice suits on, but it's just hard to follow up Coach Wright. But I mean, I'm not hating. I'm not a hater, y'all. I'm not a hater. So if they got him 5, they got him top 5, then he's top 5. You know, he is not Coach Wright look. He got his own little look. So more power to him.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his own little flair for his style, and I definitely appreciate that and hope he wears more suits and not just turtlenecks underneath the suit. I think that's definitely a look that he's brandished a few times. He really repped the turtleneck more than a handful of times, which I thought was fine. But hey, let's see that suit and tie, right?
After hearing you say that, I'm kind of going back 2 years from now, and I swear you was tweeting about Coach Wright and not wearing a suit. I swear you was one of those guys. I'm thinking about it right now. You was in the comments like, "Oh man, Jay Wright, gotta have his suit on. What's up with this golf stuff?" This is disrespectful to the university. This is
Whoa.
disrespectful to my team.
Whoa.
That was you, OC.
That was not me, man. All right, listen. I had to deal with it. I had to defend Jay from my grandparents, my parents. They're like, what is going on? It's ridiculous. Like, is this just because of COVID? I'm like, it's just kind of the mentality right now, right? It's just, everyone wants to be comfortable, and he was repping the tracksuits and looking like, I feel like in the old Big East, everybody was wearing a suit except for Bob Huggins, right? And
he never wore a suit. Never.
But
he never wore a suit.
But Patino's going to be styling. The Godfather is wearing those old whites with the pinstripes, and that's going to be tough to beat. Patino came in at number 2 in the best dressed basketball coaches. Jerry Stackhouse of Vanderbilt.
Who made this list?
College Basketball Report, CBK Report, man. You like their stuff all the time, so don't get me that in terms of what you cite my sources, because they're legit. I like their work.
Nah, somebody hired Stevie Wonder and
what's that?
And asked him who was the best dressed.
According to ChatGPT?
No, according to Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Stevie Wonder's blind.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. I was aware of the Stevie Wonder joke.
All right.
But we will see how Coach Neptune does in style year 2. But I think more fans than not more concerned about.
I'm going to Google Jerry Stackhouse as soon as we finish.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta have to let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google that.
There we go. You gotta love it. All right. Well, hey, Ray, that was a ton of fun, my man. I really appreciate the time. I know we're up late, burn that midnight oil, but I could keep going, honestly, but we gotta cut it off here. With it, Alan Ray, I'm Mike O'Connell with the 8th installment of Raynin Threes. Shout out to our guy Nick at Night behind the glass, putting on a show for us. We appreciate you, my friend.
Yes, sir, Nick. Everybody, good night. Have a good one. Episode 8, Raynin Threes. We out.
Yes, sir. Peace.